Welcome to episode 9 of the Hobby Quick Hits. First off, I hope everyone is doing well during these trying times as we try to flatten the curve, as they say. Some of the more recent numbers are showing some promise. So hopefully we slowly get back to some normalcy. So episode 9 today, got a different backdrop, but episode 9 today is going to be about something I've done personally for about 8 years. I love doing it. It's prospecting, and so whether you want to call it investing in a player or speculating on a player, I'm a person in the hobby who likes to buy cards, specifically first Bowmans of a prospect that I think is going to do well. And there's a lot of angles you can take when you do this. I'm going to talk about those, give you some tips, some things I do to help that because it can get expensive, and if you have more misses than hits, it gets even more expensive. And so obviously, you want to have more hits than misses. I tend to do fairly well. No one bats 1,000, but I think I'm going to share some things with you guys that may help you if this is something you do. So, like I said, I've done it about 8 years. Buy cards of a guy where he's 3, 4, even 5 years away potentially from making his big league debut, and it's a way to get kind of in cheaper. And if that player obviously uh, performs and does very well, those cards are going to go up. Again, for another show, we can get into the investing or speculation. Call it what you will. I enjoy doing it. So obviously, if you're going to do this, the big products that you're going to do it with are Bowman products. Bowman Chrome, Bowman Draft, Platinum even, Bowman Sterling is now back. And so, you got a lot of options. Bowman, with all their releases, is probably going to be your focal point. You could do it with Topps Flagship and some of the other more mainstream stuff, but at that point, many of those rookies in there aren't prospects as much as they've already made their debut. So I like to get a guy before he pops, so to speak. So I'm more of a middle tier guy. And the reason why I do it that way is, your guys like Luis, Robert, those type of guys, they're coming highly touted. Adley Rushman this year, a lot of the first round picks, their stuff's already hyped up and over. I don't want to say overvalued, but really at a pretty high ceiling. Now, can you still buy Adley Rushmans and Luis Robert and make money on them? Sure. But that window and that ceiling's already pretty tight between the two. And so I like to go to that next level, maybe the little bit lesser known guys where there's more ceiling. Sure, there's probably more risk because they're not as highly touted or can't miss, if you will. But that's my strategy. And that's for you to decide which direction you want to go. The other option is I'm a first Bowman guy. So, I like to get, the non-auto first Bowmans. It's a little more comfortable price-wise. I can buy, 100 of a guy, 200 of a guy. Right now, I've got a lot of players like that. Even pitchers, which I don't. That's a whole nother show. But be careful investing in pitchers. We all know the pratfalls, arm injuries. A lot of things can go wrong on the way to the big leagues, and then even after they get there. But there are certain times that's kind of a rule I made for myself. But truth be told, I've broken my own rules, and here's a perfect example. I have 600 first Bowman, Tristan McKenzie's, and Hunter Green's combined, about 300 of each, just in a box put away. They've already both have had some injuries already, which has delayed their progress to the big league. So be careful with pitchers. They're exciting to watch and get cards of, but be careful. A lot of things can go wrong. Position players too, but pitchers, who throw 90, 100 miles an hour, a lot of wear and tear on that shoulder, that arm. So be careful. Now you could also go with the first Bowman autos. So, you got all the color parallels. Now you're going to get into thousands of dollars, and now you're gambling. We want to talk about gambling. You're buying a first Bowman auto, $500, $1,000 of a guy. You really hope he really has to hit, or you can lose. You can lose all that value. I mean, 10 years, 6, 7 years go by and that player never pops. You're going to lose. That card's going to be in $10 and $20 bins, maybe even and cheaper, and you're out. And so, timing is key too. When do you, if you are buying to eventually sell, can you sell too soon? Can you sell too late? Sure, you got, timing is of the essence in everything, and especially in prospecting. So my angle is I get those mid-tier, maybe not as highly touted prospects. I go for generally the first Bowmans, and I try to buy lots of them, 100, 200. I try to get in, obviously, as cheap as I can. That way, if that player doesn't pan out, I'm not getting crushed about it. And so where do you start? You can buy them on all the platforms, ComC, eBay, message boards, breakers who open a lot of break down a lot of Bowman products, may have certain players in lots. You can buy into breaks as a team if you're looking for, if you were one of the guys I have quite a bit of is Keston Hiura from the Brewers. I'm not a person who buys in breaks, but if you were investing in Keston Hiura, if you will, you might choose to buy into a lot of Brewer Bowman product breaks to acquire, a lot of Kestons and other Brewer rookies at that point. So there's a lot of different approaches. Research is key. You can't just say I like a guy or he's on my favorite team. I mean, you can, but if you're if you're talking about money here and being smart about it, research is the key. And so you want to look obviously at their performance, read scouting reports, do a lot of stuff online, even as simple as Googling that player's name. You'd be surprised how much info can come up. I'm a draft guy, so I read a lot of the major league draft and the draft previews. I know, most people think that's an NFL only thing. You can get that information for baseball as well. I'm a podcast guy. Besides being a podcaster, I listen to podcasts, and I listen to 3. And there's more than 3, I believe, but I'll give you the 3 minor league baseball podcasts that I listen to pretty regularly. All 3 of these shows do a great job of talking about guys years in advance before you ever see them on TV in a big league uniform. And so in no particular order, Prospect 1, Baseball America, and the show before the show. Those are the 3 I listen to. Do I listen to everyone? No, a lot of times I'll read the show notes, see who they're talking about, what organization, what players, but I probably listen to 60 to 75% of them. I cherry pick a little bit. Listen to these shows. These are scouts that are in these minor league systems, following these guys, watching them. They're going to tell you stuff that you're not going to get necessarily online or Google search. This player's struggling with off-speed pitches. This player can't adjust to the curveball, or this, the fastballs are a little too fast. So a guy that might be in single A tearing it up, then he moves up to double A and now is struggling. And that's another tip. Double A, to me, in my honest opinion, is where you want to look for whether a guy is going to make it at the next level. Remember, rookie level, single A, these guys are facing high school pitchers that, college, late round draft picks. So the pitching quality is not as good as in rookie ball and single A. So a lot of these prospects, hitters especially, will tear that pitching up. Double A, high double A is where they start to get the bonus baby, going against those bonus baby pitchers, those higher draft pick pitchers, those first round pitchers, even some major league pitchers who are coming down on rehab assignments or got sent down to work on some things. And so double A stats are more of an indicative of success to me than rookie and single A. You know, there's been millions of people tear up rookie and single A, and then they get above that level and not so much anymore. So double A, triple A obviously are more indicators, but it's better to invest honestly when they're in rookie and single A. Their prices that you're going to have to pay are going to be a lot better. So research, you can't do enough, especially if you're going to pump a lot of money into prospecting. If you're going to do it here and there, you can probably get away with less research. As I stated, I'm a guy that buys 100, 200, 300, 400 first Bowmans of a guy. And I like to find guys that not everyone is always talking about. Again, Rushman, in this case, Luis Robert, those guys came in so hyped that their stuff was already at a high level. And I have some of their stuff. Some of it I just pull from opening it. Some of it I have bought just, someone's selling it at a decent price. And I bought some of that stuff. But you're better off buying that middle tier, maybe lower first level tier, where that ceiling is higher for you to hit. And you want to do the research because, if you pick 10 players you do this with, you obviously want to try to be successful in as many as you can, but you really want to try to hit that 6 or 7 range and be wrong only on 3 or 4. That's usually a good recipe for better ROI, better return on your money if you're going to eventually resell. I'm a big into grading. So a lot of these guys, if they hit, I get those cards slabbed to try to get those 9.5s, 10s, if you will, and increase their value level. So it's whatever you want to do. But I wanted to share some tips on how to do it maybe better. Again, Bowman products are really the key. For that. Now with Bowman Sterling, I love Bowman Sterling. I think that's a good product that you can still get cards at a decent level and to me they're really sharp looking. But whatever you want to do, you can always reach out to me. I'm more than happy to share some stuff, or you can even ask me, hey, what do you think of this player? I'm a huge minor league. I don't want to say minor league fan, but I follow the minor leagues just because I prospect so much. And it's a great opportunity to amass a great quantity of a rookie. And then when they hit, it also another opportunity is if you guess right on a player, obviously you turn around, you can sell those cards at a premium and then put that money into that next person coming up 4 years after that person and start the process again. So it's a sort of a never-ending cycle. For me, while I've been in the hobby a long time, almost 40 years, I've probably been prospecting really what I do now in the form I do now 6 to 8 years now. And so I've gotten better at it as I got along. And here's the other tip. You're going to miss sometimes. I don't care how much research, how smart you think you are, how many minor league games you watch, how many minor league podcasts you listen to, how much you Google players. Sometimes you're going to miss. Injuries happen. Sometimes it's not even performance. They get a career-ending injury or they never recover. And sometimes, not everyone that the scouts say is going to be can't miss is can't miss. Sometimes they miss. And so don't let that discourage you. Keep prospecting, keep doing it, keep having fun. And that's the other thing. Have fun with it. Don't spend, I'll say this about anything, but since we're talking about prospect, don't spend more than you can afford to lose. It's sort of like what you tell somebody who's going to the casino. Only look at it as a night out of entertainment and only bring what won't crush you or make you feel regret or remorse or cripple you or make you feel terrible about the night. Whether that's $50, a couple $100 in the casino setting. Only do what you can afford to lose. Obviously, you don't want to lose, but same thing here. Don't get in over your head. Don't run your credit card bills up. But again, it's a great way when you hit on a player. There's an adrenaline rush when someone you've invested in for 4 years before they even made the big leagues hits and becomes a superstar. It sort of makes you feel good. Like, hey man, I was in on him, 4 years ago. Everyone's jumping on him now because he's, hitting home runs or striking people out and winning games. But I knew about him. I got him in. I got in on him when he was in rookie and single A ball. So pat yourself on the back. But whatever you do, have fun with it. Enjoy it. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to me on any of our social medias. I'll be happy to answer them, give you some tips if I can. Remember to, if you're watching this on YouTube, or listening to this on a podcast platform, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate that. Give us any feedback you may have. Positive reviews are greatly encouraged and appreciated. So with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time, whenever that may be. Stay safe, be well, take care.